Hey, what's up, everyone? It's the Lemesis, your nemesis, but you can call me Lem. I'm here with hopefully a quick video, and then after this video, I'll follow it up with a stream. Um, my wife and I have gone through the campaign, and we've played a lot of the game so far. I think a decent amount. I mean, I'm at level 58. My wife, I believe she's at level 54. And this video we wanted to create to kind of talk through what we'd love to see in D4, right? So I'm going to share both of our ideas together with everyone here. Hopefully the video's not too long, and then afterwards we'll probably have some dinner and then crank it back up and do some D4 streaming. So one of the things that I want to do as I go through this is I want to do the best that I can I'm going to voice or show what I mean. So I'm going to crank this one up today with going into the Barbarian. Because the first thing that I came up with was I believe that they should improve the animations in the game. The animations that they currently have in the game, in my opinion, are kind of boring, a little lackluster. And I want to say this again, like, coming from the perspective of I really enjoy the game. I don't love the game, but I really enjoy the game. And I think there's some elements to video games that, at the very least, that I grew up with, that I think today modern games have kind of run away from that thought. I don't know why, to be honest with you, because I think those types of things leave like a lasting remark on an individual when they're playing a game. And animations, I think, are extremely important. So what I'm trying to do now is go to Kiev-Shad. We're just going to go just a little bit out of Kiev-Shad. And I'm just going to show you what I mean. Hopefully I don't run into too many enemies or anything like that. Normally I stay right here at the gateway or the crossway, and I show you what I mean. So I haven't played the Barbarian in a while, but I'm just showing you right now. I think this is incredibly boring. Right? Now, I get it. There are aspects. If I pulled up my druid right now, have some incredible aspects that improve the animation of my character. But I think that's part of the problem with the game. I think that aspects are great, and they're really, really fun. But when I play a game, I don't want to have to play... I mean, my wife and I, we put a lot of hours into this game. I want to say, if we... Steph, like, would you say we probably put at the bare minimum 20 to 25 plus hours? Would you say 20 to 25, right? So it took about 20 to 25 hours, maybe more, to even get to the point where I'm doing a particular animation and it looks really cool. So I spent a lot of time playing the game, doing things just to get to the point where the game feels cool. And that's the reason why I think we should improve the animation in the game. I mean, look at this guy. He's here. He's shooting, right? And that's the point that I'm getting at. This animation here, I forgot what that is, like a roar. See, so then I can... Oh, this is my ultimate. That's the ultimate. But let's pull up a few more abilities real quick, right? Because I really want to show you what I'm talking about here. All these animations should be improved. And what I mean by improved is like big swooping type animations, much larger, almost exaggerated. Because then at the very least, if I don't have the aspect I want, the animation is drawing me in enough. Because this is really like a button smash game. Like, if we're being real honest, it's hit a button, it does an animation, you wait for a cooldown if you have it, you wait for the mana if you have it, and then you do the button mashing again, right? So right now, if I assign this to, let's do it to that one, right? Look at that. You see the wind that he's creating with the speed of his weapon attack? I think we need more monstrative animations to make this look really, really cool. I don't know the proper terminology to describe this, but stuff like this, I think, has to get better in this game. It needs to be a little bit more over the top and not so boring. And you're seeing this across, I think it's really bad in the Barbarian, but I think you're seeing this across all builds, right? If I go to my druid build right now, the druid build has a on the maul where you know the main basic attack. It has an option to increase the distance of the maul. That's kind of silly, right? Now it can increase the distance of the maul, but I don't think that I should have to choose that just for the animation to look cooler. So I think that they should definitely try to improve the animations. The next thing I want to see, my wife and I both agree on this, is we need more colorful worlds. Now, again, we've gone through the basics of the campaign. We've done side missions. We've seen the worlds change. There's a sandy area. There's a hell area. There's a bloody area. There's a snowy area. Those are those basic areas, but all the colors in the game are very muted, right? You know, I have this really cool build, right, where I come here and I have my character and he looks really colorful, really exciting, but he's backdropped with this very muted world, and it's really hard to see the character. It's really hard to see the color because everything is so dreary. Now, I get it. Again, we're probably new to D4 compared to other people who've played D3, D2, D1. I come from the background of more like Gauntlet's Dark Legacy, which is a very, very superficial version, right? But to me, I want to see more color in the worlds, and I want to be able to see my character pop out a little bit more. So this may not be something that they can potentially change, but if we get, especially when dungeons, I think dungeons are so boring looking. Like, I mean, there's probably about 5 to 6 different types of dungeons, and maybe we're just being a little, too pish posh with it, because we're just spoiled. But I really feel like dungeons should be very unique and dynamic. It feels like it's a lot of copy paste. They're using the same imagery, the same sellers, the same dungeons, the same background over and over and over and over and over again. And that's something I think that we'd love to see improved, especially making them more linear, because I don't really like having to backtrack a ton, going back and forth through dungeons. Oh, wait, should I go completely left or go completely right? It's just really, really frustrating. So I'd love to see that. Give me more colorful worlds, backgrounds, use brighter colors that are more poppy, because we're dealing with a fictitious world. You guys are making this all up from scratch. I would love to see a world that's all green, right? Even if you want to keep it realistic, but I also think keep it very unrealistic, Give me, again, I can only pull from what I know, but give me if you're into Marvel, give me like a Asgard vibe of a particular place. Give me nowhere. Give me these amazing popping colors of fuchsia and green and all types of things. It would make it really interesting because, again, the game is very button mashy. So what's going to keep me engaged? The spectacle, the sights, the different things we get to see as we go through the game. So then I'm going to nitpick on this one. I really think this is a non-negotiable. And I think this game is suffering tremendously because it doesn't do this. And I don't know, this might this might cause a little controversy maybe, because I don't know if this is something they've been doing in the games before. But the SFX, or the sound effects and distinct sounds in this game, are suffering. It's hurting the game tremendously, guys. I need you to understand. So I'm going to take you through a world of, remember playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2, playing Mortal Kombat, playing all these unique games, Mega Man, and playing all these games growing up. What's one thing you remember from all of those things as you remember playing the game? It's the levels that were really difficult and the sound effects. To me, this game is missing that sound effects resonance that it needs. There might be the sound of the weapon, the way that it swings in the air and the way it sounds, but I'd like to hear an animated voice that proclaims the move. I remember in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, when you had Iron Man, he would use his proton cannon for his ultimate move. And he would go, proton cannon, and you'd hear infinity. And then he would just blast the enemy, right? I think this game needs that. I do think when I choose an ability, right, and maybe don't make it as annoying, like as frequent as possible, but like lunging strike, right? Like he has a lunging strike. He should be saying lunging strike, lunging strike. Get some guy who's way better than me who can voice act, and he goes bash, bash, or frenzy. And then you have a cool little sound effects where his blades are going back and forth. Or he goes fillet, and then you hear the blood flay the enemy. Even if it's like every other button mash of fillet or frenzy or bash or lunging strike, it would go miles in this game. You would not only hear the animated voicing of the move, but then you would hear that distinct sound, right? That attack would make. That would be huge. The same goes for all of them. Whirlwind, right? And then Hammer of the Ancients. And then I just think if they just focus on doing that, you can even make it something that people turn off. Because in my opinion, they have this one, there's one setting, right? You cannot do this in this area. If I go in and press start, or I press this little button and I go to game and then I go to options, excuse me, you can go to accessibility and you know where it is. There's somewhere in here you can turn off to have the character not say, you can't do that now. So this guy can sit here and say, I can't do that now. He can talk to the individual NPCs in the game, but he doesn't voice the moves that he has or she has in the game. That would be so incredible. It would make you be more immersed in the game where you kind of suspend reality. So to me, this is a must. If you're listening, whoever are the creators of D4, I actually don't know the name of the studio, but please really improve the SFX. We need to hear, a distinct roar with the butcher, maybe something the butcher says when he comes, like, I'm here to cut meat, like something cool like that would be so incredible. When poison mist comes out, you just hear like a hissing sound and poison mist. I don't know, something really cool and intriguing, I think would go a long way. Also, I want more dynamic experiences in the open world. Right now you have like world bosses, and the world bosses will just kind of randomly come whenever they come. But what I want to see is like maybe not just seasons, like natural disaster events that occur in parts of the world. Like Kievoshed is underneath a blizzard, or there's a mist of poison that's hazing over Kievoshed, or whatever other land that's here, right? Like, it would be really cool if we just had, in Ked Bardu, we have this hurricane or something like that that's coming. There's environmental attacks, a snowstorm, acid rain, right? And then, like, this rain is being caused by, I don't know, people doing these rituals in a particular location. So in order for you to save all the people of Ked Bardu, you must destroy these people before they finish their ritual. And then you see it like have an impact on the entire world. And then that way you can also even change the color platform of the way the world looks, kind of like Helltides. Because when you have a Helltide, everything gets bloody and it gets red. So if you do more of these like natural event type things, distinct things, I think that'd be cool. I also would like to see like us fight dragons. I don't think it's very far-fetched. I think we should have something like Elden Ring where, you randomly come into an area and then there's like this massive dragon, or you walk into a particular area and this massive dragon kind of falls down, almost like a world boss, but not really. I think world bosses should be more frequent, right? Maybe you have world mini bosses that just randomly pop up all throughout the land. And then you have these mega bosses that appear once every hour and a half. I think that would be really, really cool to see in the game. It would make the experience so much more enjoyable, in addition to the other things that the game shows you, like the Helltides and the different like legions and things like that. One thing that Steph and, my wife is Steph. I was going to just say her name. My wife's Steph. One thing Steph and I like is the story element for the game, and I think that's what they're doing. So I'd love to continually see more story. We love doing the side mission. Going through the main campaign story was really fun. Beating Lilith, and that was really enjoyable. So we want to see more and more of that. We'd be even willing to pay for the DLC because, it seems like most of the stuff that season is free. So, like, if it helps them, I'd be willing to pay. But having more fleshed out stories like Lilith, the story of Lilith, would be really great. It's very engaging. It's super fun. I said this before earlier. We want to see more eliminating backtracking in all the dungeons. Make the dungeons more linear. Also, we want to see boss mechanics improved and have variety. So, like, early on when we met Donan in the story, you fight this particular monster that kind of moves through the city. We want to see more mechanics like that. We want the battle to travel through terrain, have unique phases, kind of like the Lilith battle. There was different phases to the battle, different things she did to the environment, cinematic scenes that cut in and out. I think by doing that regularly, it's going to make a huge improvement on our gaming experience. It's a lot of work, I'm assuming, of course, but I think having those types of engaging experiences would be really cool. When a world boss comes, it should be a cinematic event. There should be massive phases to it. Maybe even cutscenes that pop up that take some of the characters in the game and show us. And it can like maybe have like a feature, right? If you do a world boss, that would be really cool, right? There'd be a cinematic scene with a world boss, and you take one of the random characters that someone created in the game and use that character for the cutscene. And then, hey, look, my character was used in the cutscene for the cinematic scene of the world boss. That's awesome, right? That would make it really fun. And then you'd go play the world boss just to see if your character ever gets chosen for that scene. That would be really unique. Another thing I think the game really needs is more like platforming type levels. So I know when you go from like you might jump from this step to this area and you press circle. I'm on the PlayStation 5. It would be really nice if there was just like a different platforms that you jump from, right? Like, and they've done this in the game, like right before you fight Lilith and you're jumping back and forth, or when you're in the ship area, you kind of jump back and forth. It'd be nice where there's just an area that's set up with a bunch of different platforms, and there's different zones where damage will fall, and you have to kind of bounce back and forth properly, or bounce on the right platform within a certain given period of time, or maybe even memorize how to go through a particular area. Like you have to go left, right, left, up, down, left, right, something like that, where you have to bounce, and if you get on the wrong platform, you fall, you die, you take, half of your health. And then if you die again, you got to start all over. Something like that would be really cool and unique to see in the game. Now, this next recommendation, it may be a little of a stretch because I know there are like a lot of builds that you could eventually get to where you're able to do things like this. But we'd like to be able to see endless dodging. It's kind of frustrating that you can dodge and then you got to wait 3-4 seconds. I think that's one thing the game's kind of struggling with. The reason why I say that is because there's other things you could do if you have the ability to dodge endlessly, right? You can show more of your skill, your attack level. Sometimes you just get hit because you dodge and you just don't have another dodge, right? Or you have to build your character to be able to dodge endlessly. I just think that's something that they're putting too many restrictions on different types of moves, and it kind of, to me, makes the game a little boring in that sense. So something like that should just be a given. You dodge so you can move out of the way of an attack. And I mean, in real life, you can technically dodge endlessly. You might get tired, but when you got that adrenaline pumping, you could. So the next thing is, the loot in the game seems very underwhelming. Like I said before, we've been playing for 30, 25 plus hours. A lot of the loot we got was just useless. If I go into the Druid, let's see. Let's go to the Druid. Let's hit leave game. When I go into the Druid, it took a long time to get a lot of the stuff that I have for the Druid. And that's what kind of sucked. I wanted a lot of this gear during the campaign. And I didn't get any of it during the campaign. So that's kind of frustrating to wait that long. But if you look at my build, and it's not complete yet, there's still stuff I want to get. But for instance, this Nature's Fury key, I got that pretty early. This Earthen Bulwark one, were increased for 6 seconds. I got that pretty early. But this one took forever. Trample, now summon 6 landslide pillars of earth during duration that deal 75% damage. I wanted this really early on, and unfortunately I wasn't able to get it until after I completed the game. So it's things like that. And this one I got at the top here because it was in one of the dungeons. Pulverize is now an earth skill. So, you know, that it's just little things like that. It almost feels like the fun of the game is locked behind you getting through parts of it that isn't quite fun, right? Again, I enjoyed the game. I don't love the game. I enjoy the game. It's mainly experience that I have with my wife, just playing games together, which is really fun. But I also want to have a really cool, fun, exciting experience in the gameplay, and I think they've locked the fun experience too much behind aspects and animations too much behind aspects. Because, like, you know, if I go, let's show you what I'm talking about, right? Again, if you're watching this, you've played the game, you get it. But I just want to show you as a newcomer, I didn't play too much of D3. I played barely any D3, but like I got this cool setup, right, with Trample. And I just don't think I should have to do this to have this kind of fun. But like Trample now summons land pillars, right? Land pillars are just a different ability. And then I also have Pulverize, right? So when I pulverize, you see the tectonic plates, right? Before, I didn't have the tectonic plates. And then I had to make my build to see random storms, tornadoes, lightning strike down. It's stuff like that that I think is the problem, because early on in the game, I didn't have any of that. I didn't have a tornado. I didn't have this cool tectonic plate. Or if I trample, look at that. Look how cool that is. I didn't have any of that. So then now if I take off all that gear, now I just look like a bear running around, right? Like, like let me remove the trample. So we're going to unequip. And then now we're going to do trample. That's so boring. That's what I had to deal with for that long. Look at that. Like if I go back and I remove, let's go back and remove the pulverize. So unequip. And I actually need to do a little bit of damage to someone. So let's go over here and do some damage. So right, look at the pulverize. Look at that. That's boring. So then how long do I have to play in order for me to do something in the game that seems really fun? That's the reason why I am making this video, because it's like, from an outsider looking in, playing this game, look how much I have to do. Like, look how I have to play 30-something hours just to get something that looks really cool on screen. And I don't think that's what we should have to do as casual players. And we're going to be kind of casual / hardcore, meaning we'll get to those hardcore levels. We'll get to level 100. We'll grind it out, but we might not grind it out like some people. Some people played this game and they were at level 100 in like the first 2 weeks of the game being out. Like, it was outrageous. I think that's a bit much. But, you know, that to me, these animations are underwhelming. The loot is underwhelming, and you don't get the loot fast enough. And to me, to be honest with you, this might be like a harsh criticism, but to me it comes across lazy, right? To me it comes across like the dev team was like, we made this really cool game and we have these really cool animations, but we're gonna lock the cool animation behind an aspect that you have to go grind to get, just for the game to look like the completed, finished work it's supposed to look when you buy it. So that's the reason why I have a knock against it. That it feels like in older games, you would have gotten that awesome animation, and then they would have put more work into different things to make the gaming experience better. But it seems like today, all the things you take for granted that you should be getting as a basis, they're locking it behind walls so that, oh, you have to now grind in order for you to basically unlock the completed game. And that's the reason why I'm like, you know. Also, another thing is there's got to be a better way of like, my wife and I have spent a lot of time where we would go to a particular location, right? We would go, all right, let's go to this dungeon, right? We beat this dungeon. We're inside the dungeon. And then what do we end up having to do? Teleport out of the dungeon. You know how annoying that is? We would teleport out of dungeon after dungeon after dungeon. And then what do? We do exactly this, right? Up. We have to go first. We go heal up. And then we have to make our walk of we got to make our walk of shame of like we picked up a ton of gear. And then what do? We have to go salvage all the gear. So then we come over here and then we go through the list of all the equipment, salvage, salvage, salvage. Hopefully we got something good. Hopefully we this. Hopefully we that. And then all of a sudden we got all the stuff salvaged. Then we come running back. We go to our teleporter and we go back to the dungeon. I just think there's something wrong with that. I don't know what a better solution is, but I just think that's like, it's just terrible. Why do and then now I'm back in the dungeon, right? So I just think that that's really silly. Another thing that we talked about was we'd like to see the improvements in the outfits. Believe it or not, I just don't think that the outfits that this game has are really cool. So, like, for instance, I mean, look at this. This is a brand new outfit. This looks really lame. This looks so trash. What is this? I just think that I don't know. I think they could do better. I just don't think these outfits that they're showing us are that legit. Like, I showed you the barbarian. I have a barbarian, and that's probably the only outfit that I think in the game is, like, absolutely incredible. But I just think some of these outfits aren't worth the price, right? Look at this. I mean, you're and I'm a spender. I just want y'all to know I spend money on a game that I love. I've only spent $30 roughly, right? $24.99. I bought the $99 edition, whatever that is, and then I got the 2,800 coins, and I bought the little lion barbarian outfit that I had that I showed you previously in the video. There's other outfits in here that, one, I find that you can build the outfit similarly in the game, which I think is really cool that you could do that. But two, I just don't think the outfits in the game are really all that exciting. Like, I'm not going to go running to spend $30 on this. This is terrible. Look at this guy. He looks like a goofball. But it just looks really bad, you know? I'm not going to spend 1,000 of these coins on this silly little horse. And then, I mean, look at this. This is the barbarian. This is okay. It's not exciting, so I think the druid needs some major improvements also on some of the things they has. I'd love to see how well they're selling because I'm not buying this stuff. This is kind of cool. That lion kind of looks weak to me. But I just think that they could do so much better than what we're seeing here. I think the druid's kind of weak. And I think they need to start like catering to a lot of people too, right? I get the game is dark. It has that angle. But not everything in the game has to be dark, right? I mean, there are other versions of Diablo where there's different types of classes and different types of looks. So I think they should really open that up. Not every barbarian or every druid is about having blood on his antlers as a helmet, right? Like that's not always the case. So, it would be nice to have some variety and more unique looks and appeal. Everything just seems to try to be super dark, and not everybody who plays the game is really into like super dark things. And again, this is not gonna really push me. Does this look cool? It does. Would I want to see this in my bedroom at night? Hell no. But again, it's not cool enough for me to go, yeah, $30, man. Because like most of this is, you're not gonna see this unless you're like zoomed in like this. But it doesn't say cool to me. It just says, like, you're really good at drawing and creating designs, but it doesn't make me want to buy it. None of these. I mean, honestly, if I've gone through the shop, this is kind of okay. This is okay. Yeah, it's all right. All these are just kind of borderline okay. This guy gives me a little gladiator vibe, but he just looks like a henchman, right? He doesn't look like he's the main character. He just looks like he's a henchman, the death toll guy. You know, this barbarian guy as well. He's not even like wearing like he's what? This is like some baby cat looking thing, like a bobcat head. That's why the barbarian, the one that I purchased, no, that dude looks like he's wearing the lion head. He's got the mane. That looks incredible, and I wish I could show you right now, which I can. Let me just leave for a second and go pull it up. But to me, this was worth purchasing. Look at this. Absolutely incredible. I think the helmet or the crown that he has is kind of weak, but I really enjoyed purchasing this. It looks really cool. It's really dynamic. Look at that. Incredible. I think they did a really good job on that. The other things I think they can improve on. Again, we're kind of nitpicking here. And let's continue on and hopefully get done with this. So we talked about more side missions. We need to improve rewards for the gold goblin guy. And when you finish a dungeon, that's kind of lame. I think that's self-explanatory. Silent chests are ridiculous. I bought a bunch of those silent keys or whisper keys. And when I unlock a silent chest, sometimes I'm just getting gold. And it's like, what's the point of me spending my obols or whatever they're called on getting those keys? If I open a silent chest, I should at the very least be guaranteed a legendary. Even if it's a repeat legendary, that's fine. Just give me something that's worth it, because I think that's the issue, right? You've taken so many things away from us. You've hidden them behind these paywalls or play walls, right? We have to play the game super long just to unlock the game. At the very least, we need some rewarding, factors. Because what you don't want to create is the idea of playing this game to get rewarded, and then by the time you get the reward you want, you kind of go, well, that wasn't really all it was cracked up to be, so you get bored and you don't play it anymore. That's what I don't want, right? Because this is a game my wife and we can really connect with. I mean, at one point, we played for like 5 or 6 hours straight. So D4 is really putting in the work. Like, it was really fun. I am concerned now that the campaign is over, that the fun's going to drop off. And that's the reason why I'm voicing my opinion about these things now, because I don't want that. Also, here's another cool thing. We talked about sound effects earlier. It'd be nice to hear sound effects, like if you've ever played the game Halo Wars 2. In Halo Wars 2, they have this thing called leader powers. And when a leader power is ready for you to use, it's like a specialty power. You'll hear the game go, leader power ready, right? And like, oh, I can use my special power. Well, I think this game should do that. When you have cooldowns, there should be specific moves that like tell you, or even all the cooldowns, right? Like mana ready, or like, let me pull it up. I can't think of anything right now. So like trample. I think trample is trample on a cooldown? Yeah, trample's on a cooldown. So whenever I use my trample and it starts at 10 seconds, it doesn't have to be the character say anything. There could be some narrator, or it could be the character, and he just notifies me, trample ready, right? In a cool way. My trample is ready to trample. Something like that, right? Ready to armor. Bulwark. Something like that would be really cool. The poison creep, right? The poison creep's cooldown is shut down. I think some SFX of some sound effects should be said, right? A lot of the things that the character says in the game now is just annoying. I can't do that now. But it would be nice to say some cool things that sound exciting and fun, which would be really, really fun for me. I don't know if you guys feel the same way who's watching. If I'm alone on this or my wife and I are alone on this, I guess just let us know in the comments. But that's just a very, hopefully, quick list of things that we talked about together that we wanted to share with all of you, that we think the game can really improve on. A lot of this, again, comes from my past game history of games that have resonated with me and really struck gold that I don't think I'll ever forget about. You know, bringing in that element of colorful worlds, colorful palettes, you know, unique sound effects that draw you in, different ideas for different events, so that people are always doing something in the game and not just waiting for the next season, right? If everything is just holding on to the next season to have fun, you're going to lose people along the way. You need more of those things. If you really want a live service game to be successful, in my opinion, and I'm not saying D4 is not successful, because D3 was like, what, 28 seasons, something crazy like that. We didn't really play it as much, but to me, getting a player like myself, and I think many others, and I'm speaking on behalf, these are the kind of things I think that they're missing that really going to draw people in, that's going to make me, you know, like, when you need the game, I need to be thinking about the game when I'm not playing the game, right? I know when I talk to my friends and my family, I still say a lot of these stupid little silly sound effects to them when I'm talking to them. Sometimes people think I just make it up. That's the best. When you just say things from a game you played and it just becomes a part of your vocabulary and things you do and say, and people are like, why do you say that? And it's like, no, I say it because it's from this game. Or like, it's something unique that impacted me from a video game or a movie. It's like when you hang out with your friends and you guys say that one line from that movie, right? You know, too busy pushing pencils. You know, name that movie, right? Predator. So to me, that's what I think we need. It's very overlooked. Again, you know, I'm live streaming this on Twitch, and if you're watching me afterwards, you're watching me on YouTube. So if you're watching me on Twitch, hit me up with a follow. And if you're watching me on YouTube, like and subscribe. So I just wanted to share my thoughts and opinions and my wife's thoughts and opinions on what we'd love to see in D4. Let me know what you think. Hit me up in the comments. As always, I always like to end my videos by saying this, the ones that I actually comment on and commentate. If you don't know Lord Jesus Christ, you should get to know him. It'll be the best decision you've ever made in your life. Look up the salvation prayer or the sinner's prayer. Ask him to come into your life. Best decision you've ever made. Peace, love, and hap. God bless you all. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. We will be back. We will be streaming probably after we eat dinner. Hopefully we won't stay up too long. But the game's just really good, and we enjoy the gameplay. At least we do for now. Laters, gatas, and talk to you later.